The special council meeting of March 8th, 2022 will now please come to order. The audience is invited to join council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Broussard.
Present.
Ms. Gilchrist. Mr. Glassburn.
Here.
Ms. Heeman.
Here.
Mr. Kelly. Mr. Limpert.
Present.
Mr. Scarl.
Present.
Ms. Williamson.
Here.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to just recognize Chuck Massarolo as he presides over his last, what will probably be his last meeting as a clerk or acting clerk of council. So Chuck, you've been doing this, I think, for 6 years. I apologize if it's been longer. And you've proven to be the consummate team player during that time. And I can tell you that just myself and everybody else has relied on you heavily, and you've always come through. You've never disappointed. So our loss is the mayor's gain, but thank you.
Thank you.
So moving into council committee reports. Councilwoman Williamson, Chairwoman of the Public Safety, Health and Welfare Committee. Do you have a report?
No, Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Limpert, Chairman of the Building, Zoning and Development Committee. Do you have a report?
I will hold my report for this evening, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Heeman, Chairwoman of the Recreation, Public Parks and Buildings Committee. Do you have a report this evening?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Glassburn, Chairman of the Finance Committee. Do you have a report this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I will briefly state that Finance met this evening from 7:32 to 7:35. Present were all committee members, President Broussard, Councilpersons Heeman and Scarl, the Mayor, Law Director, HR Director, Safety and Service Directors. The topic was 2021-78 MX Hero. Clerk Massarolo presented in his new capacity to us that it will allow us to get email attachments, which we all wanted. So it was moved by myself, seconded by Councilman Limpert, passed 3-0. As I said, ended at 7:35. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Sorry, I lost my track there because Chuck was saving my butt once again behind the scenes. Thank you. Councilman Kelly. I'm sorry, he's not present this evening. Councilman Scarl, Chairman of the Environmental Control Committee. Do you have a report?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Heeman, Vice Chair of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. Do you have a report this evening?
Thank you, Mr. President. I do. The Intergovernmental Committee met this evening to review and interview the mayor's appointment to the position of Director of Recreation and Public Engagement. The meeting was called to order at 7:36. Present were committee members Heeman and Scarl, Council President Broussard, Council members Glassburn, Limpert, and Williamson, the mayor, the law director, the human resource director, the safety director, and the service director. The committee and council then interviewed Mr. Timothy J. Pinchek for the position, again, of the Director of Recreation and Public Engagement. In that process, the mayor brought forward her candidate and introduced him to us. The interview progressed with the review of his qualifications and including the mayor's vision, of course, of her more global vision for all of her directors, and that Mr. Pinchek not only brings to the table a great background in recreation facilities, building them, maintaining them, enlarging them, but also in some fundraising and skills in that will I suppose be adept with other directors and other programs that we have in the city, so that we will be more in line to reach more community members and other communities as well. Vice Chair Heeman made a motion to recommend Mr. Pinchek to all of council, and that motion was seconded by Councilman Scarl. That motion passed 2-0. And at this time, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to appoint Director of Recreation and Public Engagement, Timothy J. Pinchek, and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to approve the appointment of Tim Pinchek to Director of Recreation and Community Engagement made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Glassburn. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
A quick correction, the second was made by Councilman Scarl, and Tim Pinchek has been appointed as the Director of Recreation and Community Engagement by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor to excuse the absence of Councilwoman Gilchrist?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to excuse Councilwoman Gilchrist made by, I believe, Councilwoman Heeman and seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Scarl, Councilman Scarl.
And Williamson.
I'm done.
And Williamson.
We need flashcards.
Hold up our nameplates.
All right, let's do the roll call.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gilchrist is excused by a vote of 5-0. Is there a motion on the floor and a hand raising to excuse the absence of Councilman Kelly?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, awesome. Motion to excuse the absence of Councilman Kelly made by Councilwoman Williamson and seconded by Councilman Glassburn. Roll call, please.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Councilman Kelly is excused by a vote of 5-0. With the agenda being completed and there being no further business to come before council, this special meeting of March 8th, 2022 is adjourned at